Hey party people, welcome to Stitch With Me. Today is, hold on, I'm getting this in focus. Today I'm going to be working on this. This is Release H from the Stitch Rovia Quotes to Live By charity sale from last year. As you guys know, if you watched my previous video, I'm working on it a little bit out of order because of the color scheme I chose and where I wanted certain colors. So this is the second to last quote left for me. I've got 7 and 8 done. I was actually going to do 7 and then 8, but I didn't have all the colors I needed for 7. Or I don't think I do. I want to try and see if I can use some of the new colors by DMC. And I don't have those, so I am going to my LNS tomorrow. I'm going to pick some of them up and see if I can make it work, and if not, I'll work with what I've got here. So I am doing a color conversion. I'm adding a variegated and working my colors around it. I've got a lot of colors going on here, so I figured I'd at least show you the variegated I'm working with so you get an idea. So the word that's going to be in the variegated is going to be the U, and I'm using this DMC 4510. It's part of the Coloris line. It's not focusing. Maybe if I do the white, let's trying to focus on the writing. There you go, 4510. So as you can see, I already kind of got myself started. I'm working on the outline of the quote, so not super exciting stitching going on here, but stitching that needs to be done. I know the entire thing isn't in frame, but most of it is, so hopefully it'll be fine and it'll work out. Did I stitch that in the right spot? There we go. It's a little awkward because I'm stitching on the edge here of the project, so it's a little hard to get a good angle. Not just for me to being on the camera. I know a lot of you had said, you know, stop apologizing, don't worry about it, it's fine. But just a good angle, I guess. Not just for my lighting, but just for my hand to feel comfortable. And also have to put something there because I'm at the edge, it's kind of shaking a little bit. The scroll frame is a little bit on the long side. Anyway, yeah, everything's going good so far. I just recorded my Year of Whips video, which ended up being ridiculously long, as tends to be the case with my Stitch With Me video, Stitch With Me with my videos. Yeah, see, it's easier to do this two-handed. But again, it's a little hard because it's at the edge of the fabric, at the edge of the project, on a long scroll frame, but no biggie. Anyway, so yeah, that ended up being real long. If you watch that video, you'll see that'll probably go up after this one. We'll see, because it's going to take a while to edit that one, and this one is not really that much editing. But I am, you know, I did a lot of front loading and a lot of planning using a Happy Planner and some spreadsheets I printed out, and some decorating that I did to make it look pretty, and hopefully that'll help me keep on track. Now, as I mentioned in that video, it's entirely possible all that's going to go out the window because I am having a baby in like 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks, so it depends a lot on what happens with that. A lot of these plans might just go out the window. That's entirely possible. So I'll really just have to see. I need something more stable because this isn't heavy anymore. There's nothing in it because my frame keeps shaking. Maybe if I make it tighter, like a tighter space here. I know what I'm going to do. Pardon my arm there. I apologize, but I'm trying to make this a little... There we go. I think that'll be better. Okay. So, I don't know. I have a lot of goals. I have a lot of plans. But that might just go out the window. And there's not going to be much I'm going to be able to do about it, and I'll just take it with a grain of salt. I know Nell mentioned this. She's due a little later in the year. I think either April or May. I think April. And then Rachel is actually due a week or so before me. But if I do have the baby a little bit earlier, maybe we'll have them right around the same time. So that should be interesting, huh? Almost there, girl. Anyway. Yeah, I'm at that point where, gosh, I noticed that a lot of my last video was super out of breath for certain things. And I mean, I haven't been doing much except, you know, being just about 8 months pregnant. But it's crazy how much out of breath you really do get. Just making sure. I'm just going to be going up for a while here. So anyway, I'm looking forward to having the baby. Obviously, we're so excited. We can't wait. But we're at that point where a lot of the stuff is done. We have most of what we need, especially the big stuff, and especially right away. There's going to be stuff we're going to need to buy, but it'll be little things or things we might not need exactly right away. So we're pretty much set. The only big things that are left are the dresser and the crib, which are supposedly on their way. Hopefully they'll get here somewhat soon. It'd be nice to have that set up, mainly because the dresser we can fill up and then we can see what else we can lay out around the room. Right now we have the stuff and it's somewhat organized, but just like in a corner. It's not organized because we don't have the stuff to organize it in. And we have to figure out what we're going to do with things like toys, or things that won't go in the dresser. Are they just going to go in the closet? Are we going to get some sort of bin? What's going on with that? Also, decorations. We can't really decorate the walls until we know exactly where we put the crib and the dresser. We have an idea, but we're not really, like, we won't really know till they're here and we actually put them on or put them out. So we're hoping that gets here soon. So I mentioned that she might come a week early. Some of the measurements were coming out a bit small. They're definitely keeping track on her. She seems to be doing fine. What's that? Okay. Nothing important. But they're saying for safety precautions we might have to get her out a little bit early, so we'll see if that happens. The idea is if that does happen, it would be an induction and not a C-section, which I really want to prevent. But obviously what will be will be. I'm trying to really think about that a lot. Yes, I have ideas of what I want. Yes, I have an idea of like a birth plan in mind. But I don't want to put myself in a situation where like I just expect something to happen a certain way and then it doesn't and it ends up being an issue for me. I really don't want that to happen. So I really just, I'm trying to take it with a grain of salt and realize that things can happen, and as long as she's healthy and I'm healthy, the delivery is going to be what it's going to be. It's going to be the best for us. I'm a believer, so I'm definitely, you know, praying and just asking for a smooth delivery and all of that. Right now the main thing I'm in the process of is packing my hospital bag. Really, I've got pretty much everything I need. I need to get myself some slippers and I need to get myself a robe, but I do have like pajamas. I have some socks, some comfy socks I want to wear. I have 2 sets of pajamas. I have toiletries. I have all the clothes for the baby. I have plenty of blankets, the hat, all of that. I think, is that correct? Hold on, counting. Yep. Okay. So we have everything we need in that aspect. But yeah, and there's some stuff that I don't have, but I know I need to get like the slippers and the robe. If there's anything else that you guys can think of, like they gave us a basic list, but like what else needs to go in the hospital bag? Diapers? Didn't say diapers. I'm guessing they, ooh, sorry about that shake there. I'm guessing they give you diapers there. But I don't know if I should take some newborn diapers. I guess I'll take some newborn and 0 to 3 outfits, though she's expected to be small. I was quite small when I was born, and my husband was close to average but on the smaller side. So I'm thinking the newborn clothes will fit just fine. But obviously I'm going to take some 0 to 3 just in case. But yeah, they didn't have much there. Stuff to keep me entertained for the first bit of it, where it's not too ridiculously painful, I guess, where it's like you can't concentrate at all. But there seemed to be a lot less on the list than I expected, so I was really kind of surprised. I was expecting there to be a ton of stuff, but there really isn't, so that was interesting. Yeah. I have so many ideas of things I want to stitch. I don't even know. I'll probably get them all done when she's like ready for school. But I know I definitely have at least 3 charts that I really want to get done. And I think I can definitely get one of them done this year so it can go up somewhat soon. And the other one at least started. So I'll have to show you those when they're ready. Yeah, I'm totally up for a nursery tour too if you guys are interested. It's going to be under the sea theme, so there's really a lot of cute patterns out there. Definitely lots of mermaids involved. Ooh, I kid. There's actually like 5 things that I already know I want to stitch. Yes, some of them are a little bit smaller. 2 of them are already started, so those can definitely be done. There are 2 mermaids by Nora Corbett. One's called the Sunrise Laguna Mermaid, and one is called the Moonlight Laguna Mermaid. They're a companion piece, and I have Sunrise Laguna Mermaid almost completed, actually. And Moonlight Laguna Mermaid has a decent start on her. So I'd love to hang those on her wall. They're also Nora Corbett's and not Mirabilia, so a little bit smaller and just a little bit more cutesy, I guess. So I'm excited about having those. A couple Soda Stitch patterns I want to put up. One is one of the ones that I definitely think I can get done. And one of the suggested finishing methods, not techniques, but just one of the suggested ways to finish it is as a clock, which I think is a marvelous idea, and I'm pretty certain that's what I want to do. So I'm really looking forward to working on that. Yep, so excited, you guys. I do want to do Crescent Dreams, which is basically a little baby on a moon. And have that be the birth sampler, which is funny. It's like it's a non-mermaid thing. It's like you think I want a mermaid or under the sea birth sampler, but I really, really like that piece. So I'd really like to do it. I don't know if I'll be able to start that one or not. I have the pattern, but I don't have fabric. And I'm sure I have the flosses, but there's also some embellishments I would need to buy. Some ribbon and a couple little Mill Hill treasures. And I'm guessing some beads. I don't think there's any silks though, so that's nice. Moment of truth here. Make sure I actually counted right, because once I get to that middle stitch right here, I'll see if that's actually 2 spots away. I'm pretty sure it is. So I'm really looking forward to getting some of those pieces started. I do also have another piece I'm stitching for her that isn't going to go in her room. It's her stocking, and I've mentioned a million times about my husband's family's stocking tradition. So I definitely want her to have hers that first Christmas. It's already started, but not by a lot, so that's something I need to work on as well. So lots of stitching ahead of me without counting year whips and stuff. Oh, hold on. I was counting in the wrong spot. I think I'm going to have to get rid of that. That's a bummer. Wonder if I can just make it a little bit shorter. I mean, I could, but it's spaced out so nicely. Just because I really don't want to have to undo all of that for one stitch, you know. But I might. Oh, that is so not cool, you guys. Hate when I do that. Okay, here. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to unstitch just to the... because I just started this thread. So I'm going to stitch just to the point where I started it. I'll have to completely get rid of a few stitches there. But that way I won't have to completely lose out on this floss. I do that a lot. I know a lot of people mentioned, well, not a lot of people. Michelle Bendy Stitchy mentioned this, that when she saw Caroline stitching with the needle, like how I have always stitched, I always loop it through and then fold it in half and run it under my stitches. So this is in here, like I'd have to cut it to get it off, but I like it because I think it keeps the floss secure. If I just have the two ends of the floss, I feel like it's always slipping out. It's so annoying. I don't like it. But obviously in a situation like this, you either have to cut and pull out, which I've done sometimes, depending on how long the thread is, etc. Or just completely get rid of... Ooh, what's going on? Huh, hold on, something's weird there. Is that where my thread ended, possibly? I don't think so. Hold on. Oh, I stitched it a little weird. There we go. Sorry if you can't see that too much, but I just gotta get these stitches out of the way. Come on. What's going on here? Did I make myself a knot? Oh, I see. See, sometimes the only thing about this method is of going back and undoing the stitches on an even weave, especially, is if you went underneath a fiber or something, your floss could get caught on it. So, two more. And I'm back at my starting point. So that'll be a little funny looking until I completely fix it. But I think I can do that when I end this thread. So let's get that set up again. Nice and tight. Have to angle myself properly. Have to move this up a little bit because that bit wasn't in frame originally, and we're good to go. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to skip that's what I thought. For a second it looked like I could undo one more stitch. So I'm really supposed to have this one row above. So what I'm going to do here, you know what, I'm going to leave one, go one over, just so that I know that that's where I need to undo these stitches, rip them out. Okay. Yeah, so I was looking at the chart in the wrong spot. I thought I counted right, which I actually had counted right if I'd been looking at the right spot in the chart, but I wasn't looking at the right spot in the chart, so that's a problem. See, I know that looks funny now because it looks like I skipped there, but That's eventually gonna come out, so whatever. Anyway, I already lost my train of thought of what I was thinking about because I got all messed up. So yeah. Now, I mentioned about the nursery. I'll do a nursery tour when that's ready, if that's something you guys would love to see, or maybe I'll just do pictures on Instagram. I don't know. I'm looking forward to stitching stuff for the baby. We'll see how that works out. And Year of Whips. I hope it happens. I hope I can get all the stuff I want to get done, but we'll see. We'll see. It just depends on baby girl. I feel like that's too close. Why? Oh. I guess it's a thread too low. I mean, I made it work out. You're not going to be able to tell in the end, but there really should be two full, or just one stitch in between, but it looks like there's a stitch and a half. Or half a stitch? Maybe that's why it looked... See, now I feel like it's going to look too close. Maybe I will just leave that. I just undid it though. It's such a pain. I think I'm just going to do what I was originally doing. So, sorry about that. This Stitch With Me has been like, watch me put in and put out and take out stitches over and over. At least I'm glad I won't have to undo that after all. So, I'll make it work. It'll be fine. Thankfully it's even weave, so it's a lot easier to kind of fudge stuff like this. Where, oh, like maybe there should have been 2 spaces in between, but there's 1.5. So it's not going to affect it all that much. And thankfully the way this quote is set up, there's a lot of, I mean, it's really just one row. I'm sure I could like lower something by half a stitch and then something else by half a stitch, and it'll be just fine. Something that's got 2 rows in between will just have a row and a half, and then something else with 2 stitches in between will have a row and a half. So it actually works out nicely because I won't have to rip these stitches out, which would have been more annoying than undoing this as I have. So yeah, hopefully this is the last one you'll watch me undo. Now because of that, my fabric is a little loose now, so let me tighten that up a little bit. There we go. Okay. So yeah, that's where I'm at, you guys. I'm just kind of sitting here trying to keep up with responsibilities such as keeping the house organized. We were originally not the tidiest people, but you know, with the baby coming, obviously we want everything to be as neat as possible. So we've been cleaning it up a lot and keeping it that way. And obviously once everything is neat and it's kept that way, it's a lot easier to work with than having this huge mess. Like it's not that we were dirty. We never had stuff like dirty, but we didn't pick up a lot. Like things was kind of like chaotically organized. So stuff wasn't ridiculously messy, but it wasn't organized, I guess. And there were certain areas that you would probably just say that's just messy. But there were things that I felt were just organized in a way you wouldn't expect. I just realized there's kind of a lot of green going on in this pattern, but that's okay. It's not bad for there to be like this type of green, for there to be a similar color. Originally this pattern was all in the same like 10-12 colors. I decided to switch it up. But once I add in all the other colors that are going to be going on in this pattern, because there is a lot, it should be fine. Anyway, in order to not keep this too long, because I did want to actually do a Spanish video, I'm going to answer some of the questions that Caroline answered in her last Off the Grid. I asked her, like, oh, would you be able to post the questions? It'd be fun to answer them. And she let me know that, like, she actually asked on the Facebook group. And, like, it might be easier to find the post. And I did, and it was pretty easy to find. So I'm going to answer some of the ones that aren't too specific to her and could be answered by, like, a stitcher. Which, by the way, I haven't mentioned this. Like, I just assume you guys know. Obviously, Stitch With Me's have been a thing for a while. But Caroline started a specific group called Friday Off the Grid. And she started doing her Friday Off the Grid Stitch With Me's, and other people started doing it as well. So it's kind of like a community all together. We all do the videos. You know, a group of us do some videos. A lot of people schedule them and always record on the same day. I'm really not able to do that. I'm not able to do it now, much less when baby's here, if at all. So there's plenty of options for people who will always, like, she always uploads Friday night. Ginger Gerald Stitcher uploads Saturday. And Michelle Bendy Stitchy uploads Sunday. Hers is called Sunday Brunch. So for the people who have scheduled videos, they have fun names. So Gerald's is the Off the Grid After Party. Michelle's is Off the Grid Sunday Brunch. Somebody's doing coffee breaks. I don't know if it's a specific day or if it's just like in between, so I guess it's considered a coffee break. Stitch M or Emma is doing, I think, Thursdays or Friday morning, so hers is like the pre-show. Letitia started the Party Crasher one. I have to give her credit for that. And that's just because, like me, she's like, I can't really schedule stuff out. I have no idea when I'll be able to do these videos. Just whenever they can happen. So I'm just the Party Crasher. And I decided to adopt Party Crasher as well because I'm just going to stitch whenever I can. And also record whenever I can. But there's plenty of people in the group who just watch, because not everybody likes to sit here and chat or doesn't have something to record with or doesn't want to, and that's totally fine. What's the point of recording these if nobody's ever going to sit and listen, right? So we need people to listen as well. So don't feel bad if you're somebody who's just going to sit and listen, because we absolutely need people who are just going to listen. If you're interested, the group is called Friday Off the Grid. Search for that on Facebook. There are a couple questions you have to answer, I think, to be approved. But then you're just approved. Sorry, counting. Yep, one more stitch. And join in on the fun. Anyway, on the group, so Caroline answers questions in her videos. She did post in the group if anybody had any questions to please post them, and she would answer them. So I'm going to go ahead and answer some of those now and then wrap this up. Okay, so the first question is, how do you decide what to stitch on? What catches your eye? Well, I really like mermaids. I've mentioned that. I like really colorful things. I'm not a super big fan of monochromatic stuff, but there are some patterns out there that have caught my eye. I do have a long dog samplers I want to stitch, and I am going to do that in one color. I've kind of slowly been convinced to try and do Death by Cross Stitch, but that's something I would probably incorporate multiple colors into. I just think it'd be too much of one color. Even though Castles in the Air is that way, it's not quite as big, and just the idea of I have it in my head, I think it's going to work out. But yeah, I like really bright and colorful stuff. I love the use of variegated flosses, so that really catches my eye a lot. And nerdy stuff catches my eye a lot. I love Harry Potter, I love Sailor Moon, I like old school gaming stuff, like anything that's like Nintendo, like the Super Nintendo, Game Boy, that stuff catches my eye. But a lot of stuff does. I feel like my style, my likes have expanded a ton since joining, obviously, FlossTube and Facebook groups and Instagram, because there's just so much out there. So much. I like the Regal ladies a lot. But yeah, a lot of mishmash of stuff catches my eye. Sometimes even stuff that I wouldn't consider my style, but for some reason I just really like. I didn't think about how long this should be. I guess it matches up with. Okay, I see. I could always add more stitches if I think I need to. Alright, let's see, what else have we got? Your needlecraft story. How did you start? Let me make this a little bigger because my computer screen's a little far away. How did you start? Who taught you? Is there any fiber craft, needle craft, or general crafty type things you still want to try or learn? Okay, so I did mention this in my very first video, but I started stitching when I was about 14. My dad bought me a kit, and I really enjoyed it. Got myself a few more. I did about 4 projects, then high school, then college got in the way. Got married, all that stuff. Started in 2015. I was just in Walmart in the crafting aisle, saw a kit, and I'm like, I've done that once before. That was fun. Let me do it again. And the rest is history. Are there any other crafts I want to try? I've tried crocheting. I've done like 2-3 projects. But that's it. I want to do that some more. I was going to do a blanket for baby girl. I never started it. I do have the pattern. I have all the yarn. If not all, I have most of the yarn I need. So it's just going to be a matter of like if I decide to do it or not. That might actually be easier to do after she's here than stitching, unless I'm stitching on a very simple project. So I want to try that. I've tried knitting. Honestly, aside from a practice piece where I just, had a row and just practice stitches on it, I've done one project that did not really work out. So I'd like to try that again at one point, but I'm not sure when. Okay. What else have we got? Which part of the process do you enjoy the most? Planning, starting, making it to finish, the FFO, or somewhere in between? The in-between bit, like stitching on a project like this, starting to get close to the end is exciting. Especially something like this where I've done a lot of my own colors. It pleases me a whole ton to see it come together, see something that I kind of adapted work out. So like that part, I think where you're 3/4 of the way there is probably my favorite. I don't know why, but it really is. I really like finishing stuff, and I like seeing the finished product, and that is a big part. Even though I enjoy the process, I do like finishing things. There's times where I really need to work on smaller things just to get some finishes in. But I think my favorite part is where you've got enough of it stitched that it's pretty much come together, and you're still enjoying stitching on that project that you've worked so hard to get close to that finish. Actually, I'm not a big fan of starting because there's just too much prep work involved. Like if I could just magically be ready to start stuff, that would be so cool. But yeah. So I hope that made sense. So about 3/4 of the way there, where most of it has come together, you feel the accomplishment of like, oh my gosh, I've done all of that. But you still have the enjoyment of keeping stitching on this project that you love. That's probably my favorite part. My favorite point in a project. Let's see, that doesn't really apply for me. Oh, somebody asked a question about a sewing machine. I got a sewing machine for Christmas actually. I have no idea where to get started. So if you have suggestions for me, I would love if you left a comment down below, either guiding me to a group or channel or book or something that I could start with. Obviously, I'm going to want to finish my own things at one point, but there are other things I want to learn. I would love to learn costume making. That would be so fun. Have you ever thought of designing? Yes, I've actually designed one pattern. I'm working on it. It's fonts. Oh no, did I just close that out? I did not. Yay. It's a font only pattern, but I do have the idea to make like a design with an actual image. I actually talk about that in my Year of Whips video, because that pattern comes up as one of my Year of Whips projects. So for the sake of not completely repeating myself, if you're interested more in that, go there. But my idea is to hopefully have that pattern up for sale around the time I go on maternity leave, or a little bit after, since here in the US you don't really get cool maternity leave. Like, I can take the time and they'll hold my job, but I don't get paid or anything. At least I get to keep my benefits, so that's good. Anyway, yes, I have thought of designing, and I just need to really get myself going. I think once I get started, that's going to be the hardest hurdle, as is with most things, and then I won't have any problem to get going. I do want to design some mermaids, as if that surprises anybody, but I think I'll need a little bit more practice before I'm ready to really tackle that and do that. Make sure that's nice and tight so it doesn't wobble. So yeah, is there anything stitch-wise that overwhelms you? What technique have you wanted to try but haven't so far? Are there any patterns I look at and I say, no way am I doing that? It looks too complicated. At this point, no. I think if I don't want to do something, it's just because it's not my style, but not because it's too complicated. I do want to try some specialty stitches. I really haven't tried much. I think I've been successful with a couple I have tried. So I don't think like I'm necessarily overwhelmed by them. I just haven't gotten to it. The only thing that overwhelms me right now is the chatelaines, and not so much because there are specialty stitches, but because I know that the patterns can be a little difficult to read. I know that it's beneficial to have a PDF, make sure that you can actually read them, but I am looking forward very much to eventually doing one. So it's not like, oh no, I can't, I'm not. That's definitely not the case. That really doesn't apply to me. Oh, best way to rip out stitches. Gosh, I'd have to say probably a seam ripper if they're really tight, or a lot of them. As Caroline mentioned, because I stitch the same way with the thread bent in half, I am in a way trapped. If I can undo the stitches, I will just unstitch them, as you saw me do it earlier in this video. Or if it feels like it's just not going to work, or it gets too knotty or something, I'll just snip the thread right at the edge of the needle here, like right where the thread is meeting the needle, and then just use my needle or a pin and just go under the leg and pull it out. This one just says scroll rods. I guess you need a stand for them. I would say so. If you have a really small scroll frame, you might be able to get away with stitching it with holding it in hand, but you need some sort of frame, either a lap stand or a floor stand. I think that's the easiest way. And I think what makes the scroll rods and scroll frames most useful, because they can get quite heavy. Do you still have the very first item you cross-stitched, and could I show it? I don't have it on me. It's downstairs on my fridge because it's a Christmas decoration. Believe it or not, I still have some Christmas stuff up, which I really need to take down. So what I can do is I can show you a picture. Yeah, maybe in a future video I can show the actual item, but I just don't have it on me right now. It is this right here. It's a little skiing bear. That is the first thing I ever stitched. Yep. That's the one I answered already. And the last question. Oh. Oh, I see. This is for her Evertote bag specifically. I was thinking that maybe the question was about fabric in general. So I really can't answer that. The few times I've bought fabric, like to finish projects though, I usually go to Michael's, Joann's, or AC Moore and find anything that catches my eye that isn't too expensive. So I guess that's part of the question. Where do you get your fabric? That's about it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. I don't want this to be too long, even though it probably already is. But yeah, I will see you guys sometime in the future. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.